Alright, in this next section, 11.10, I want to talk about box and whisker plots. And these are kind of interesting things. And what we're gonna be doing with them is we're gonna be looking at the distribution of how these numbers fall. And you may have seen these. Look at distribution of data. You may have seen these before. They're kind of weird looking. Usually they're on a graph like this with like numbers on it, and then you can see that there's like a large box somewhere, and then there's these like whiskery things that kind of poke off to the sides. And this is a box and whisker plot. And what this tells us is where most of the data falls, because I can divide this into smaller pieces, and that's kind of the key of what's going on. When we are doing this, we're going to be looking at a new term called quartiles. Quartiles allow us to divide our data set into 4 pieces. So, for example, often I missed a marking. Usually there's a line here in the center of the box as well. And what happens is that this here, we call this the first quartile. I'm just going to put a Q because I don't have a lot of space. And 1/4 of my total data fits in that quartile. My second quartile would be right here. And 1/4 of the data points fit in here. So I can see that these data points would be much more scrunched together. So this is a more likely place that the data would fall. My third quartile. And finally my fourth quartile. And you can see that my fourth quartile. These along the outer edge are often the outliers of my data, the ones that are farthest from the norm. And I could call my norm is kind of the center 50% of the total data. This second and third quartile are where most of my things tend to fall. So when I build a box and whisker plot, it allows me to see data that is odd and allows me to focus on these edges, or tells me what to expect if I look at the averages. And we're going to figure out how to make one of these box and whisker plots, and I'll do one for you so that you can build some of your own on the homework. Let's take a look at this data set. This is what we'll use to build our box and whisker plot. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and sort it ahead of time, but I trust that you know how to sort numbers by this point. If not, I probably have some other videos on helping you decide what numbers are bigger than other numbers. Alright, so here's our data set, and we're going to be building a box and whisker plot. Oops, build a. So to do this, we're going to need some information first. First, we need the median of our data. And then we need the median of the first half of the data and the median of the second half of the data. First. And this is where median kind of becomes important. We don't often use the median except when we're doing kind of more specific things like looking at our total distribution like this. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and find the total median of my data set by crossing off numbers. I can do 2 at once because I have plenty. And I can see that here my median of my data set is 49. That's the center of where my data is. Now I want to find the first half of my data's median. So to do that, I'm going to rewrite my first half. So I have 34, 42, 45, and 45. Okay. I have 2 terms in the center. That means I'm going to find the average of them. Excuse me. I have 42 plus 45 divided by 2, 43 and a half. So my first half of my median is 43.5. My second half of my median, I have 50, 51, 52, and 58. Same as before in the center. This is going to be a little easier for me to figure out. I'm going to have 51.5. I almost wrote 2, but it's really 5. And this is going to be the key that I need in order to build my box and whisker plot and create it from this point. Okay, now I know how to build. I'm going to start with a line on the bottom. My set down here, I think I'm going to start at 30 because 30 is a little bit below, and I'll probably go up to 60. So let's go 40, 50, and 60. Probably should have spread it out a little bit more, but you know, that's okay. Now I'm going to mark my data, and this is going to be the key for what I'm going to start looking at. So first, I'm going to put my outer edges. I'm going to put my 34 in. I guess I can put my 5s in to help me out. My 34, and it's going to be the end of one of my box and whisker plots right here. My highest number is a 58. It's going to be right here as well. Next, let's mark the very center. My 49 is going to be the center, and it's going to get another big line. And now I'm going to make the edges of my box by adding in my first half of my median and my second half of my median. Or the median of the first set and the median of the second set. 43.5 would be about here. And 51.5 is about here. Here is where the box of my data is. And then these would extend out to the whiskers. Now I can see that I'm representing this data with my first quartile here, my second quarter of my data here, my third quarter here, and my fourth quarter here. Now you don't have to write the quartiles up there. I'm just using it to demonstrate. And this is how we make our box and whisker plot. And this is what it'll show us in this case. Now, this data isn't particularly meaningful here because it's mostly just random numbers. But when we take more meaningful data, we can actually start to find some interesting things and trends will pop out. I'll do one more example if you would like to watch me do it. Otherwise, you can go on and start building your own. Let me find the one that I like. Let's see. Well, how about we just go for our example, and I'll just do number 1 so you can check it and see if your box and whisker plot is correct. Our data goes like this: 12, 13, 15, 17, 21, 22, 24, 26, 28, 30, and 31. Okay, let's find our total median. First step: 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2. Median of our data is 22. My first half, I guess I can even just use a different color here. 1, 1, 1, 1. Oh, that's easy. 15. And let's do the second half. 1, 1, 1, 1, 28. There we go. And then my minimum and maximum, which I also see. Okay, I'm going to build my box and whisker plot. I'm going to start at 10, and I'm going to go to, what is this, 40, 20 in the center, 15, 25-ish, right? Okay, my minimum here is going to be 12. About here. My maximum is going to be, oh man, I'm definitely screwed up my numbers over there. 10, 15, 20, 25. Let's just change this into a 30. And then we'll go 35. Wow. That was a terrible mistake there, Mr. Dan. Got my 12. Got my 31. My total center, I'm going to switch to a color because I think it looks nice for the box and whisker, is 22. My first half is 15. My second half is 28. This is my box. My box is pretty big in this case. And my whiskers extend to those lines. This is what my box and whisker plot should look like here. Not too bad. I can see that in my center is pretty widely distributed, and there's a lot more data on my edges because the smaller a quartile is, that means the more data that is sitting in there. All right, go ahead and go on.